Alright, I am Maester Payne. This will be a Game of Thrones theory video. Um, it will contain spoilers, so watch at your own risk. I think I'm going to title this a Jon Snow lineage theory that you have never heard before. Now, it's probably going to be misleading because it's a theory that we've all come across at one point or another. It's basically your first instinct when you're reading the books. It's Ned and Wyla. So don't run away yet. I'm going to lay it all out for you. And that's not the big killer hook in this theory. So I debated whether or not to tell you guys about it at the beginning of this video or at the end, and we could just go through the evidence and get to that point ourselves, but I don't think that's going to necessarily work. I'll come across it too many times, so I'm just going to say it right now. Ned and Wyla were married before Ned wed Catelyn. Okay, let that set, let it register, let your mind blow up a bit. Now hear me out. Don't shut me down. Don't run away. Listen to what I gotta say, and we'll get there. All right. First off, Robert knows who Ned's woman was. He knows Ned was screwing somebody. Straight up asks him, "What was her name again?" "Your bastard's mother." "What was her name again?" Clue in to the again. "What was her name again?" "Your bastard's mother." This lets us know that Robert, in his head, he's trying to figure it out for himself. What was her name again? Sort of thing. All right. Now, if you are partial to the R plus L equals JS theory, you should timeline this statement of Robert's, this phrasing, and ask why he knows of this woman. If Ned is just saying Jon's his own to protect Jon from Robert, or just to keep the secret of Rhaegar and Lyanna, why does Robert have a name? Why does he have a name? Ned stopped talking to Robert in King's Landing when they had their fight over the death of the Targaryen children. So, and Ned ended up at the Tower of Joy after that. He finished off Robert's war for him. Robert stayed in King's Landing. So why does Robert have this name? Ned's not sending a raven to tell Robert, "Look, I fathered a bastard too." Haha. That's not Ned's style. So think of that timeline there. Just keep it in your head. We're not going to get back to it in this, but it's something that you need to think about. When Tyrion meets Jon, he straight out says, "You have more of the North in you than your brothers do." Why does he say that? Because Jon looks like he has more of the North in him than his brothers do. He's got dark hair, dark features. Tully traits are the auburn hair. You got it Robb. You got it definitely in Sansa. Bran, I'm guessing. Rickon. I haven't checked it all out too much, but the Tully traits are evident, and Tyrion can see this, that Jon does not have them. Starks historically wed within the North, right? They don't dip into the southern waters. That's their world. We want people that are keeping to the old gods. Up until Rickard. Is it Rickard? Is that Ned's dad? I think it's Rickard. Whatever, Ned's father. Up until he sends Ned off to the Ari, or the Airy, however you want to call it, the Vale. And Brandon's supposed to wed Catelyn, right? this goes into the Celdron ambitions theory, which I'm not going to get into. It's somebody else's. They can take it. It's very good theory. Where to go? Sorry, I've done a lot of posting this exact video today or recording it, and I haven't managed to get through it really yet. It's probably my 5th time. It takes a lot to sort of streamline everything and keep it cohesive, so I don't have anything I can pause with. I got to get it all done in one shot, or else I got to do it over. So just bear with me as I struggle through this. So yeah, Celdron ambitions. So that's sort of that thing. Starks they're just in the north. That's the only people they've married up until this point. It's not until then that you see auburn hair, different features show up in them. Now, I could be wrong. I have this in my head. You guys, anybody knows that, oh, this Stark looked this way, this Stark looked that way. Prove me wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Jon's bastard name is Snow. This isn't a mega clincher of this theory by any means, but if Ned wed Caitlyn at River Run and then had Jon afterwards or somewhere along the line, why not a southern name? Arguably, you take him back north, he gets the Snow name. Fine. It's an argument, but why would, if Ned's trying to keep Jon a secret from Robert, why give him a northern name? Robert would know that couldn't have been possible, right? Ned was away there, and he arrives at Winterfell with this baby. Why not give him a south name, whatever region he's from? Granted, if he was from whatever name they called Dorne area, he probably wouldn't want to give him that one, but something of the southern area. That's weak. I know it, but I'm putting it in there. You got Tyrion and Tisha. Now this will be sort of an example of how easy it is for the highborn lords to just erase a wedding, erase a marriage. When Tywin finds out about it, it's done. It's over with. Just gone. Get her out of here. I'm not putting up with that. You're wedding somebody else worth wedding into this family, not this girl. I believe that in the books that marriage is actually annulled. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that that's accurate. I just didn't want to go dig through the books to find that one little aspect. I looked a bit online and there was some mention of an annulment, but it didn't say that it happened, just that it was supposed to. But I'm pretty sure that in the books it says that their marriage was annulled, which has implications with Sansa and Tyrion. If it wasn't annulled, Sansa might have a bit more options, but if it was, then there you go. You got Robb, right? Pretty much mirrors this exact situation that I'm talking about. He was actually engaged to the Frey girl, one of the Frey girls first, but he decides to wed Jane Westerly instead. I don't think this happened with Ned. Obviously, Brandon was engaged to Catelyn. I think Ned had his thing with his girl, Wylla, and whether or not he chose to marry Catelyn of his own accord, or either Jon Arryn or Robert put him up to it to seal this alliance that Brandon once had, I couldn't say. And I think it's possible that because he was going to war is why he married Wylla. She was pregnant with his child. If Ned dies, that kid's just growing up wherever he found this girl at. Maybe it's not the nicest life. So he wants her to have his name. He wants her to be able to go north. Then they say, you gotta wed Catelyn. You gotta wed Catelyn Tully. Push this woman aside, Ned. We need this alliance to work. And Ned does it. He did it. Things worked out. Robb doesn't. Boom. Red wedding. You got Benjen and Jon. When Jon goes to Benjen to tell him that he wants to go to the Night's Watch, Benjen's, no, you're too young. Forget about it. Jon tells Benjen, Maester Luwin says that bastards grow up quicker than other children. Benjen says to Jon, that's true enough. And then he reaches over, grabs Jon's cup, when Jon's been drinking out of, because he just got there, he hasn't had time to do anything much, but he grabs Jon's cup, fills it with some wine, and takes a long drink. Why does he do this? It's because this isn't a conversation he wants to have. He knows Jon's not a bastard. He knows Jon's not growing up quicker. He says it. That's true enough. ... But you're not a bastard. But that's just in his head. But yeah, if you read it, just pay attention to how he acts afterwards with the wine and everything like that. Pretty much exactly as they said. He also tells Jon to go father some of his own bastards before deciding to go to the Wall. That sounds like Benjen's had sex before. Guessing he's either doing it at the Wall, I doubt that, or he did it before he ever went to the Wall, so he knows what it's like. Maybe he is going off, humping around, whatever. Benjen can do it, probably Ned as well. Maybe Ned's got a bit more honor than Benjen. We'll see. Ned's determination to keep Jon in the North is significant. When Catelyn says she's not going to have him here, it causes a big fight. To one point, she says that his fury was upon him. Talking about Ned, this is in Catelyn chapter. His fury was upon him. Then he says, or he is ... His fury was upon him, and he may have said more until Maester Luwin interjected with, there's another option that presents itself. And then he goes on to tell him about what obviously Benjen must have told Luwin, that Jon wants to go to the Wall. And he says that. They say Benjen says that the boy has spoken of joining the Night's Watch. So the argument's over right there. Ned's fury was upon him. Luwin interjects. Done. Ned's fine. Get him out of here. Send him to the Wall. The guy that brings his kid, raises him, just chucks him off to the Wall like nothing else. And goes on to say later, in Jon's, nobody told me what this place was like, because they didn't want to. They wanted you up there. Ned wanted you there. You're in the North. You're around Winterfell. Maybe Stark must always be in Winterfell has more implications of the far north in general, which I'm sure most of us think is probably accurate. And now we got Tyrion saying to Jon, I spoke about this already, but we're going to get into it a little bit more. You got more of the North in you than your brothers. This is a lesson that Syrio Forel was teaching Arya. And really, it's Martin teaching us how to read this book. Pay attention. Have you ever... the story is Syrio Forel telling Arya about when he went to become the first sword for the Sea Lord. and all the Bravos have been going there, and Sea Lord's sitting there with his cat on his lap. Serial gets there, and the Sea Lord says to him, "Have you ever seen her like?" he asked of me. And to him I said, "Each night in the alleys of Bravos, I see 1,000 like him." And the Sea Lord laughed. Did you get it? I don't think I did when I first read this. I might have. I may not have. Definitely got it the last time I read it. "Have you ever seen her like?" he asked of me. And to him I said, "Each night in the alleys of Bravos, I see 1,000 like him." Have you ever seen her? I've seen 1,000 like him. Ari doesn't understand. So that's the lesson. And then he points it out there. All right. Just so. Opening your eyes is all that is needing. The heart lies and the head plays tricks with us, but the eyes see true. Look with your eyes, hear with your ears, taste with your mouth, smell with your nose, feel with your skin. Then comes the thinking afterward, and in that way, knowing the truth. That's how we're supposed to read this book. Got to pay attention, got to look, got to listen, you got to feel. Then, when you got everything in place, you start asking the questions. Jon looks like he's from the north because he's from the north. That's why. It's obvious. Tyrion says so. You got more of the north in you than your brothers do. Right? Alright. So that's that. And then I guess we'll get to the end of Ned and Robert's conversation. I think I've hit on everything here. Yeah. So this is the end of Ned and Robert's conversation on the King's Road. Started with it, we're going to finish with it. Ned's mouth tightened in anger. "Nor will I. Leave it be, Robert. For the love you say you bear me, I dishonored myself, and I dishonored Catelyn in the sight of gods and men." What do people do in sight of gods and men? They say their vows. In this case, it's their wedding vows. Now, you're saying, fine, that's exactly what I thought it was when I first read it. But what he's really saying is that's the moment he dishonored her. Right at that moment. Not because he cheated on her afterwards, but because he was dishonoring her right then. "Gods have mercy, you scarcely knew Catelyn. I had taken her to wife, she was carrying my child." Yeah, he's talking about Catelyn. "I had taken her to wife, she was carrying my child." No, he's not talking about Catelyn. This is a guy with his head down, and he's thinking about the past, and he's just, "I had taken her to wife, she was carrying my child, ... and I tossed her aside just to seal the alliance." Now Robert knows of all this. Robert and Jon spent their days in the Vale. That's why Robert knows her name. Top line of that was, "Gods have mercy, you scarcely knew Catelyn." Now, if you guys blow this theory out of the water, it's going to be because of this word, the word "knew." It's written in italics, and it scares me a little bit, because if it's referring to that he actually knew Catelyn, it could be the fortnight they spent with each other before Ned took off to go back to the war. If it's referring to maybe he met her with Brandon, or maybe he just knew of her, and that's why it's "you scarcely knew Catelyn," it's because you don't know Catelyn. We'll see. "You're too hard on yourself, Ned. You always were." I think that's not their time together in the Vale. This is Ned carrying this weight when he went back to war. He took this dishonoring of them and this sort of betrayal that he's had to do. He took it with him and he carried that weight when he was at war. Damn it, no woman wants Baylor the Blessed in her bed. Baylor the Blessed. Who is that? It's the most famous virgin in Westeros. No woman wants a virgin in her bed. She wants somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Right? That's your timeline. Ned had the sex. The sex. Ned had sex before... excuse me. Ned had sex before he wed Catelyn. There's another point I wanted to touch on, but I don't know exactly what it was. Oh yes, I had taken her to wife. She was carrying my child. When Ned leaves to go to the war, he doesn't know Kat's pregnant. Robb came 9 months after Ned left, to basically to the day. You get that from her Catelyn chapter. She says it. We spent a fortnight together. He left for the war. 9 months later, Robert was born. Or maybe 9 moons if you talk in their lingo. I don't know how exactly she says it, but after Ned left, 9 months later, Robb was born. Ned doesn't know she's pregnant. He knew his first wife was pregnant. That's why they got married, most likely. You with me? You got me? Implications of this. Obviously, Jon Snow, it affects him greatly. I don't think it's going to affect the other Starks all that much, unless it already is in Bran for some reason. I think the end game is probably going to be Jon as a King of Winter. I don't think that's the same as King of the North. I think it has way more stuff involved with it. We'll get there. That's what I'm going to be hunting towards. I'll figure that out. But yeah, when it all said and done, I think it's going to be a fairly small circle that knows the truth about this. If it's even accurate, you guys read what I've said, look at it. I think you come to the same conclusion. It's right there. If you understand the twins Targ theory, you have to look at it in the way Martin writes his passages. And you have to understand that everything all over the place has 1, 2, 3 meanings. It's impressive. And that's how you need to read this. Page 110, 111 of the Game of Thrones paperback. That's where you're going to get the heart of it. Everything else is just sort of things that you can see how they apply, how they factor in. Twins Targ theory, we will talk about that in a little bit. First, I guess, I'm going to give shoutouts. Charlie in Westeros, I came to him or PM'd him about 4 or 5 days ago when this idea popped into my head because I wasn't prepared to do a video. I wanted to get started ages ago. I put it off. And this one's too big to let sit so long. And Charlie couldn't get to it right away, so I decided to throw it out there. Shout out to you, Charlie. Looking forward to your next video. James Landana of the James Johnson channel. These guys put phenomenal stuff out there. Their dissection of the Mutiny at Craster's episode or scene of the TV show was pretty outstanding. It was just amazing. I fully believe it. I think you guys are spot on with that. Lady Kayla, she did the first ever video that got me into digging into this stuff. It was her Tyrion Targ video. I'd seen some of her stuff, just filling the gaps uh, between seasons. I think probably going near 2 years now. And then she directed me to watch her Tyrion Targ video, and that told me that I should probably dig into these books quite a bit more than I actually had. Because originally it was just Jon Snow. That was my aha moment. Like, finally, I got it. Rhaegar, Lyanna. Went online, realized everybody's, yeah, we all know that. So, that's who got me started in this. Evil Twin, she does excellent episode reviews. She's a book reader and a show watcher. She sort of compares it to that way. I don't think she gets into too much theory, if I remember correctly. Haven't seen anything from you since your last video. I've checked. There's nothing out there yet. And the Dawn, Tony Teflon. Now, Dawn, I just watched your last video. I think it was pretty awesome, pretty excellent. Obviously, a lot of stuff I said here won't mesh with what you said in that, but I don't think you're wrong in your thinking. I think that they probably think what most of us think is what the Lannisters were thinking heading north. Yes, Lyanna and Rhaegar had a child, and it's Jon, except it's not Jon. It's somebody else. We'll get into that. Oh, I don't think Lyanna had a son. Lyanna had a girl. Why do I think this? Is the phrasing of they found him there still holding her body. I think it's a baby. I don't think it's Lyanna's body draped over him. There's another bit of wordplay that I'm working on. Doesn't all fit. This isn't as neat and tidy as this. It isn't as neat and tidy as the twin Targ. But fingers grabbing his, her fingers grabbing his. Doesn't say his finger. It just says his. So that could be one finger, or it could be all. Hard to say. And that said, yeah, I think my next video will probably be on the twins Targ, except I'm going to tear it apart. I've given it to you guys. Now I'm going to take it back. It's no longer twin Targ. Few of you already know where I'm going to be heading with this. Yeah, I don't think the twins are Tywins. Never have. I've said it before. I think Tywin's sterile. Tyrion probably is an offset of that sterility. That's why Tyrion's deformed. It's the one that got through. It's not. That's not fact, but I mean, I think I would still love if Tyrion is a Targ, but I think the irony of Tywin will be that that's his only son. The twins, I'll leave you with a clue as to where I'm going. It's not Aerys. Aerys wasn't the father. My clue is going to be Cersei and Jaime, or not Cersei and Jaime, Cersei and Rhaegar. If you understand why they did not wed each other, what the problem was, you're going to catch on. All right. I see spots. It's like the 4th, 5th time I've done this video. Every time I forget to mention you in the shoutouts. So I see spots. I haven't heard much from you lately. Hope you're still around. And we will see you with the next one. Please like, please subscribe. I plan on bringing you some pretty kick-ass theories and explain them the best that I can so that you guys can figure them out, not just lay them out there. Yeah. talk to you later. Thanks.